So today is Halloween, okay? And some people, and I don't mean Satanists or witches or warlocks or Asatruers, well, maybe Asatruers because they kind of fit into the category I'm talking about. But for some people, Halloween is every day. And as I said, I don't mean a Satanist or a witch or an Asatruer or a warlock. What I really mean are political cosplayers. Now, what's funny is on Twitter, I get a lot of this nonsense, and I have to continually point out Trump is not a fascist. Trump is not a white supremacist. Trump is, and always has been, a Zionist with a long history of support for Zionism and black subversive individuals and movements. Boom, okay? But a lot of people don't fail to understand that during the Trump-Clinton election in 2016, there was a lot of political cosplaying. Okay, now what do I mean by political cosplaying? Cosplaying is when people are cosplaying. I don't know how to pronounce it because I'm not a kid, but it's when people play dress up like their favorite superheroes or whatever, or create a character of their own, and basically go online or whatever and pretend to be or to Comic-Con and pretend to be this character. Okay. Well, Trump didn't start that, and this is a poison. Political cosplaying is a poison to politics. Okay, it's a poison, especially to right-wing politics or conservative politics or national socialist politics or fascist politics. But it did not start with Trump, and it is not a new phenomenon. Um, my family, I come from a long line of conservatives on my father's side. My grandfather was a hardcore conservative, a very Christian conservative, and a minister. Okay, but I would go to a lot of these things, and I would see quote political conservatives playing dress up with their tri-corner hats. They dress up like colonial folks and Civil War era people and whatever, blathering, or my favorite, in the military fatigues, and blathering on and on about this or that. You know, the Constitution this, the Bill of Rights that, yada, yada, yada. Instead of actually just trying to keep a reserved sense of themselves and talk in a sensible manner. Now, what you see, and I'm not dissing this, it gets attention, but for example, George Lincoln Rockwell in the American Nazi Party. It was basically when they would go out and play dress up, they were doing political cosplaying. They're pretending to be basically Nazis. Okay, they're dressing up in full uniform with the swastika, and they're going out there and getting some attention. The Ku Klux Klan, not when they go to their cross-lighting ceremonies, because that is a religious thing. A cross-lighting ceremony is a religious ceremony. But when you're dressed in full Klan regalia in public, that is political cosplaying. You're playing a role. Okay. When you But it hasn't, now it's crossed the line. Now people are not simply cosplaying. They're not playing a character. They are becoming the characters that they play. This is also with the left. You will see these people with blue hair and purple hair and all this other crap, and they've begun to assume the personality of the people they're pretending to be. And this is a sign of a very weak ego, a very weak sense of self, okay? Now, what you need to understand is this has been a problem for many, many, many years, and it is beginning to get worse every day, okay? The problem when you start crossing the line between pretending to be something and thinking you are that thing is dangerous, okay? When people stop pretending to play the role of Jesus in the Nativity, or not the Nativity, or they stop pretending to play Jesus in the Passion Play and start believing they really are Jesus, you have a problem. When people stop playing the role of George Washington and start thinking they're George Washington, you have a problem. When people stop thinking they're pretending to be Adolf Hitler and start thinking they are Adolf Hitler, you have a problem. When people start believing they're Napoleon Bonaparte, instead of pretending to be Napoleon Bonaparte, you have a problem. And this is becoming more and more common. You see a lot of these people going out, I mean, it's absolutely absurd. But what's even funnier is people actually, because of the crazed situation, this has become so prevalent that people are giving these people credit. They're giving them credit. They're actually paying attention to them, supporting them, and not just credit, positive credit. They're saying this is a great thing. This is not a great thing. This is like living in an insane asylum. You have you have people running around playing dress up. The thing that cracks me up the most is because people are so disenfranchised with the current state of things, instead of working to make these things better, they're working to basically they're working to pretend like they're living 100 years ago. Okay, and that's not how you make things better in the current state of things. One of the things that's funny is, like I said, this is also prominent in the left. I used to argue with wannabe communists that were millennial aged in their 20s and younger. And what's funny is they whine about how the government doesn't do this and the government doesn't do that. What's interesting is they pay a lot of money for these communist uniforms and communist regalia, and if they spent less money on the communist regalia and invested in the community that they live in, you would see actually maybe the government wouldn't have to do the things that they're complaining the government isn't doing. And you see this now with this caravan, this Honduran caravan. What's interesting about it is this. You see these people complaining that these people are poor and they're fleeing being poor. Well, if the leftists in this country took the money that they have, just a little bit of money, and donated it to giving people in South America better access to medicine, food, etc., maybe these people wouldn't be forming a caravan and trying to get into the United States illegally. I'm sure people don't want to take an arduous journey and go through Mexico and Guatemala and have to burst through the borders of Guatemala and Mexico. And I'm going to do another one about this because these people are not refugees. These are insurgents. These are people that have attacked the authorities of Guatemala and Mexico. But the thing is, these leftists want to complain about how our government needs to help these people. No, if anything, the people complaining these people don't have what they need should be taking it upon themselves to help these people. If you want to say that you believe in human rights, but you're not delivering on that, then that makes you a liar. It makes you, and that's the thing with these leftists. They're lying. They're pretending the part of a caring person, but yet they are not truly caring. It's only a pretending thing. They have not crossed the line to that. Now, I wanted to get into what is called God form assumption. In occultism, there's a ritualistic practice known as God form assumption, where people become a god for a time being during a ritual. This dates back to the early shamanic era, where a shaman would put on an animal skin and antlers and pretend to be an animal. But the problem is, we do not live in a Neolithic era. So when these people have idolized, and also George Washington is not God, nor are any of these other classical characters. So what's happening is these people, in an occult sense, or not in an occult sense, in a psychological sense, they are damaging themselves by assuming the personality of people that do not exist. These are idealized characters, and it's damaging to their psyche. It's also damaging to civilization and damaging to politics. And that's all I want to say.